let's move on. Let's talk about Travaris Robinson for Georgia. Now, he's getting paid $1.3 million. He's not even the highest paid coordinator on their or defensive coordinator on their team, right? That'd be belong to Glenn Schumann, right? Glenn Schumann was co-defensive coordinator with Will Muschamp last year. Of course, Will Muschamp, he steps down to an analyst role because he wants to spend time with his family. If you remember his kid, I think he's playing quarterback at Vanderbilt or something. So he steps down, and Georgia uses this as an opportunity to not only hire a fantastic, coach, guy who's been proven as a position coach and as a defensive coordinator. You're gonna hire a guy and you're gonna steal him from Alabama. Travaris Robinson is one of the best defensive back coaches in the entire country. Am I correct in saying that?
Absolutely. Recruiter, developer, yeah, all that.
So a guy with SEC ties. I mean, Auburn, South Carolina. He was at Miami for a year. The Alabama cornerback coach. I'll give you a list of some names that he coached, right? And you can tell me, you can just get a hint right away, right? Kool-Aid McKinstry, Terran Arnold, Tyreek Stevenson, J.C. Horn, Cam Smith, Israel Mukwamu, Carlton Davis, Jonathan Jones, Jamel Dean. I mean, what? Like, I'm
I'd
sure
throw
that's not
Vernon
even.
Hargreaves in there too.
Yeah, that's. Wait, did he coach Vernon Argus?
Yeah, he was at Florida in 2014. Vernon
That's
Hargreaves, Jalen
right.
Taylor. Wild, wild, wild,
That's
wild.
nuts, dude. Yeah, so that wasn't even, bro, kind of nuts. So yeah, that Georgia defense stats kind of crazy. I mean, not to mention Will Muschamp is still going to be an analyst on the team, right? Kirby Smart was like in the opening interview was like, we're happy to announce that we're bringing on Travaris Robinson as defensive coordinator. We're also emphatically happy that we were able to retain Will Muschamp in an analyst role on the team. That's nuts. So, I mean, got Trey Scott still on the team. I mean, that coaching staff's kind of nuts. But yeah, I think this was kind of like, was it an underrated hire? I mean, it shouldn't have been, but I feel like it wasn't talked about as much as it should have been because Glenn Schumann's still there, right?
Well, so much happened, right? Nick Saban retires, boom, bombshell, right? And then Robinson goes. I mean, people are like, is he gonna get the job? And there's not really ever gonna, that wasn't quite yet. Maybe one day for sure gonna be a really good head coach. But obviously in comes Kalen DeBoer. He goes to Georgia, and then all of a sudden there's like, wait a minute, is Robinson coming back? Obviously, Bama fans started like deleting tweets, taking back everything they were saying about Robinson leaving for Georgia, blah blah blah. Is Caleb Downs gonna come back? All this good stuff, and it kind of got, once he stayed at Georgia, the story kind of quieted down, and then obviously so much is happening every single day in college athletics, college football, like you said. Yeah, I mean, obviously, would Georgia have been fine without him? I'm sure. Glenn Schumann, very, very good, right? I mean, it's ridiculous that they even have him on as an analyst. But anyways, yeah, I think it's a is it game changing for Georgia? No, like I said, they'll be fine. But is it exciting and awesome and embarrassment of riches? Yeah, absolutely. And was Kirby smart to do this? Yeah, absolutely. And is it going to make them a better football team? Yeah, absolutely. I think these are all check the boxes of what makes Kirby Smart so good is he sees a weakness, he sees an area where he can improve, and if it hurts Alabama, it hurts Alabama, blah blah blah. But yeah, Tavares Robinson is a big, I think a really, really important piece for Georgia. And especially like not only now, but his recruiting prowess too is tremendous.
Yeah, he's yeah, when I first saw that, I was like, what? I was like, where's my first thought was like, I don't know why, because I was like, where'd Glenn Schumann go? But then of course, he's hiring as a co-defensive coordinator, and I was like, oh yeah, because Will Muschamp stepped down. I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I know you talked about how this isn't necessarily a game changer. You're saying that because, well, I think because Georgia was going to be good regardless. But like
Yes.
on any other team, this is a game changer. I'm going to call it a game changer because I think if he was hired as a defensive coordinator to any other team, it's a game changer, right? I mean, just like if he gets hired to Texas A&M, if he gets hired back to Auburn, if he were to go to Kentucky, right? Like any of these schools. I mean, Kentucky's an interesting example, but like Florida State or one of those, like it would have been game changing, right? Like I think it gets downplayed because it's Georgia. I'm like Is that crazy?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also like he's going to be like, yeah, that room. Could you imagine being like a GA for the defense and like doing something like just being able to sit in those meetings with Glenn Schumann and Kirby Smart, Travaris Robinson, um, and
It's
obviously,
like
geez,
that what was that that picture of like the LSU staff or whatever, or that video of
yeah,
the LSU staff and like when Nick Saban was the coach or whatever. Gosh.
it's Jimbo Fisher, it's Kirby Smart, like it's all that Will Muschamp was he on that stat? Like it's a wild, wild grouping, and it's like, oh, look at all this, like, yeah, that's what it's gonna be one day, where it's like, here's the Georgia 2020 football team, here's the defensive staff, and Will Muschamp's just an analyst, but he's the most overqualified analyst in all of college football.
One of them, Jerry Kill, being the most qualified.
Vandy legend.
Kidding, kind of.